OK, so my interpretation of that, Shadow Minister, was you should either work harder, put more hours in, or get a better paid job.
It's really hard to react to that because I meet, every week people who are in the situation that of the people you're meeting there. Just on Friday last week, I went to spend some time at a local food bank in Hove, the constituency I represent, and I met lots of people who are in an extremely difficult time. They are in jobs. Sometimes I met one person who was in 2 jobs last week, and she's a single parent. The idea that she could work longer and therefore not spend more time with her family, I think it's just disconnected from the realities of people's lives. We had a minister last week that said that people should be buying more budget food and supermarket own brand foods. What we need ministers to be doing is solving the economic problems that families have because of the economic problems our country faces. This is their jobs as politicians. Their jobs as politicians aren't just to tell people to work harder, work longer, and go for a promotion. It's actually to accept the reality that because of the decisions they are making in Westminster, people are no longer able to eat a decent diet. This is the situation that we face, and there is a direct political consequences to the priorities and decisions made in Westminster. That is the reality we face.
Talk to me about the Northern Ireland Protocol. The government says, or we're being told, that the government is likely to rip up bits of it later on this week. Thoughts on that? Prime Minister, of course, heading to Northern Ireland today.
Well, there are lots of problems with the approach the government are taking. Firstly, we're in this mess because of the protocol that the government designed itself and then introduced into the negotiations and signed into international treaty. But now it is an international treaty, it's domestic law and international law. If the government unilaterally rip it up, then our negotiating partners, not just with the EU, but the US, who we're trying to sign a trade deal with, India we're trying to sign a trade deal with, all of them are going to say, can we trust the UK? And the EU will say, why would we bother signing a new deal with them if they're just going to rip that up in another 6 months when they don't like the new one that they've signed with us? That's the first problem. The second problem is Northern Ireland itself. The politics of Northern Ireland took a huge step forward 25 years ago with the Good Friday Agreement and the peace process. That rests on the principle of consent. It means you need the consent of both communities, both the unionists and the nationalists. Now, if the government does something which just empowers one side of that community, you will lose the consent. So 60%, for example, of all people elected to the Stormont Assembly in the recent elections stood on a manifesto commitment to support the protocol. If the government just rips up the protocol, what will it be doing is overcorrecting from one side to the other. But actually, whereas you might get the DUP back into the executive, you might well lose Sinn Féin. So what the Prime Minister needs to do as he goes to Northern Ireland today, simply to parade his failure of recent years, what he needs to do is sit down and summon the kind of degree of statecraft we've not seen from him to date in order to find a way through that can take both communities with him. It won't be difficult. It won't be easy, I'm afraid, but it can be done if the Prime Minister applies diligence, statecraft and graft.
OK, it's good to talk to you, Minister. I keep calling you Minister, don't I? Shadow Minister. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme. Enjoy your time with your dad. Thanks a lot.